Hey everyone, this is Sean Batchelor. Welcome to my Project 4 review. This is AOCI 1, and it's a continuation of last week. This time we are passing from view to view using the unwind segue. So let me show you the application first. This is the app, and when it loads by default, it gives you the default text of no events. If you try to save with no events in that list, I have a control here that will prevent you from doing that. So you have to add an event to the list right here. So you come over, type your event in, click on save, and it saves out. Now if I quit the application and reload it, it defaults again to no events. That's because we didn't save anything. So if I go add event once more, save it right there, and if I click on my save button here, I have an image save button. So if I click on save, I get an alert saying congrats, your list has been saved. So now if I quit the application and reopen it, there you go, my first event remains. So let me add another one to it. Alright, and we save it. Now on this screen, on the add event screen, I actually have a control right here. So you can't save anything if the list is blank. Sorry, if your text field is blank. And that's because of the should perform segue with identifier method that I have. So if I click on it, I get an alert right here that says you have to enter something before you can add to the list. So let's enter something else. And my close button works. I can close right there, click on save, and that's it. It's good. So save event works. And if I completely delete the application, clean my project, reload everything, you'll notice it goes right back to no events, and that's because the list is saved locally in using NSUser defaults. So the application works as prescribed. Now an overview of my code. It's fairly simple. I got two icons here that I added, and that's for my save button on the main view controller screen right there. And this is my main view controller header file. All I have in it is my IB outlet for my event list, NS mutable string that I use to append to that list, and then I have an IB action for on-click and IB action for save exit. Save exit is for the save button on the second view, the input view controller screen, and my on-click I will explain to you when I get over to view controller M. I also import view controller header file into this file also. So in this class, I have my IB action on click right here, and what it does is it checks if the event list is default or if it's blank, and if it is, I'll alert the user, letting them know they can't save anything, they can't save a blank list. So that's the first thing I showed you in the app right there. Otherwise, create the NSUser default, save the text that is in that list to the NSUser default. And this is my IB action right here, and as I said, it applies to the save button on the input view controller. So when I click on save, all it does is it appends whatever is in that text field to the list changer, which is the NS mutable string that I created in the .h, the header file. This is my view reload function right here, and it has the NS mutable string right here, and what it does is it reads from the NSUser defaults and checks if it's empty. If it's empty, it's not going to do anything. Sorry, actually, if it's empty, it appends no events to the list, so it goes back to a default state. Otherwise, it will actually check if the key that I pull from NSUser default is null or if it's blank, and then it will append that to my NS mutable string. This is my input view controller header, and all I have in that file is an IB outlet for my text field, an IB action for text field return, which I use to assist in closing the keyboard with the close keyboard button, and I have a property NS string that I defined right here, and I use that as a carrier to pass the string from the text field over to the list. So this is my .m file for input view controller, and right here synthesize my string holder, which as I said, I used to pass the string. This is my IB action right here to dismiss the keyboard. In this section of the code, you notice green, and that's because I actually created an app with the prepare for segue using the regular unwind, and I want to keep that for future reference, so I'm not going to delete that. This is my conditional segue right here. Should perform segue with identifier, and what I do is I define an integer, and I use that integer to store a value of 0 or 1. So right here I check if the identifier coming from the unwind segue is the name of the segue that I want, and then if it is, I check if the text field is empty. If the text field is actually empty, I give it the integer value 0. If it's not, it gets the integer value 1. And then I run a check to see, I actually run the check that I just mentioned to check if it's empty based on the 1 or the 0. And if it is empty, I present an alert to the user, and I block the segue transition right here with the return no. Otherwise, if it is 1 or it does have something in it, I store the value of the text field into the string holder variable, and I allow the transition off from the second view controller to the first view controller. So that's pretty much the gist of the application. Now let me make sure I answer the other questions. Not the right screen. Okay, what did you do for your project? I already went over that. List a few things that you think that could use more clarification. As a matter of fact, it seems like my code is a lot heavier. Like I have a lot more things in the code compared to last week, but this is actually, it seems simpler to me than last week's prepare for segue, the whole spiel. So far as clarification, I think I understand it. I might have to practice this a whole lot more before it drills down into memory. But I guess we'll get more of that over the coming months. What do you think you could have done better? The only thing that I thought and I did was, when I went to the add event screen, I was thinking, okay, as a user, what do I want when I click on this button right here? And last week I had it where you click done, it saved it. But I'm thinking, like, aside from the close keyboard button, because as a user I actually wouldn't want a close keyboard button. I'd rather just click this to get rid of the keyboard right here. So that's what I did. So that's pretty much it. The application works, and works as prescribed in the assignment. So again, this is Sean Batchelor. It's my project 4 assignment, week 4 AOC 1. Thank you guys very much for watching.